golly, y'all, I watched the press conference there with Donald F. and Trump, Krasnov, and that murderous Saudi Arabian Prince today. And look, Team Taco, you fake-ass patriots, have y'all never watched that man speak before at all? He's an idiot. Why haven't y'all picked up on that yet? Why does more than 0.5% of people still support him? I don't understand. You ain't never noticed that he's a dumbass? You've never noticed that he never answers a question ever at all. He either don't answer the question, or he talks about himself in third person, or he just outright lies. He says the opposite of reality all the time. He creates a fake reality for himself and says, that sounds good, I'll go with that, But look, he don't never answer a question. It's always yes and no, and maybe, and we'll see, and maybe, and yes, and no, and we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. That's all he ever does. I don't care how complicated or not complicated the question is. It's always the same babbling nonsense. He never answers a question about anything. It could be, does Mickey Mouse have ears? It would still be, well, we'll have to see. Maybe yes and no. See, that's all he ever does, and I think it's because he's just that stupid. There's nothing up in his brain bucket to transmit a message down to his big orange bloated mouth is the problem. He don't know anything about anything. Hey, Team Taco, is that what y'all like about him? Because he makes y'all feel smart? Is that what it is? Makes you feel intelligent because he's such a effing idiot? Is that what it is? It has to be, Now, like I said, I watched that whole thing, and he didn't do nothing but, not answer questions, talk about himself in third person, talk about how great he is, fabricate a bunch of things that he said that he did that he didn't do, like saying that, China is just buying up all of our farmers' produce and stuff right now. That's the opposite of what's happening. See, here, let me give you a little advice there, Trump supporters. If you want to know the truth about anything, just listen to Donald Trump speak and then think the opposite. Of whatever comes out of his mouth, think the opposite. That's most likely the truth. That's how you do it right there. It's real easy to do. He makes it real easy to do. But look, it wasn't nothing but a bunch of softball questions there. See, that Saudi Arabian Prince, he brought a bunch of reporters with him, his entourage there, with these, prefabbed questions to go out there and throw these softball questions to make Donald F. and Trump look good is what they were doing, just kissing his ass. That's all they did. But out of the whole thing, there was only really one legitimate question asked of Donald F. and Trump, because everything else was just stuff that the American people ain't really interested in knowing. What kind of F-35s are you selling to Saudi Arabia? What are relations going to look like in 10 years with Saudi Arabia? Just stuff like that, and stuff that's not currently on the American people's mind. And this ABC News reporter, had the audacity to ask that man a real question, and that was, hey, well, we know that you told the Republicans to go ahead and vote on releasing the Epstein files. Can't you just go ahead and speed up that process by just going ahead and releasing them yourself with a stroke of a pen? You can auto-pin that. She didn't say that, but that's an idea of mine. He could auto-pin it just like he did all those pardons, He could do that because that's what he did. He could just auto-pin that. But no, he lost his ever-loving mind on that woman, after he got done bashing everybody, Obama, Joe Biden. And look, Joe Biden ain't even into politics no more. That poor man's got prostate cancer too. He just won't stop attacking him viciously, calling him Sleepy Joe still. And look, Joe might have been sleepy, but he wasn't sleeping. That's the difference. See, Donald F. and Trump was sleeping in the Oval Office just a few weeks ago whenever that dude with the Ozempics passed out in there, and collapsed there in the Oval Office. Donald F. and Trump was sleeping. That's what he was doing, just like he was doing in the courtroom the whole time that he was being convicted on 34 felonies for paying hush money to a porn star to hide his misdeeds from the electorate in the 2016 election, But he was sleeping then too and pooping on himself. So anyway, he was all sleepy joeing it up and just attacking people left and right. Well, when this woman asked that question, a legitimate question, like I said, he lost his mind on her, y'all. And he went apeshit on her. Literally. telling her that she's a worthless reporter. She's sorry. She asked stupid questions. She asked it in a tone that he don't like, and that she should be fired, and that ABC should lose their license, and then turned around to some dude and said, you need to look into pulling their license. All that stuff, and then started attacking the Epstein file stuff again and saying it was all a Democrat hoax and it's all Democrats on there and all that stuff. Go after the Bill Clintons, go after the Summers, go after this guy and that guy. Don't look at me, look at all them people. You know, it's a Democrat hoax. Well, the thing is, he never did answer the question. He just went and attacked that woman, and while he was doing that, he could have just answered the question. I mean, it was simple. Can't you just release the files? Right now, you could do it with a stroke of an auto pen, man. Nah, he lost his mind on that woman. Just went crazy. And the thing is if it's a Democrat hoax, release it right now. Release it right now. Let's go get them Democrats. You know what I mean? Let's get all them Democrats right now, ASAP, since it's all Democrats on there, you know? And he ain't got nothing to hide, nothing whatsoever. Not a thing. Not a thing does he have anything to hide, you know, that would cause him to lose his mind because a reporter asked a legitimate question that deserves an answer. Well, then he went on to say that he went ahead and answered her question and that she don't get to ask no more questions. That's what she said. He was like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld, except for he was a question Nazi. No more questions for you, he said. Literally. So, anyway, that dude's got a lot to hide. A whole lot to hide. I can't see or figure out for the life of me how he has any support whatsoever, because he is guilty as homemade sin, and he shows it more and more every single day. Yet there's people out there still protecting on him for some reason, because he is the Epstein files. Okay, it ain't just what happened to little girls. It ain't just that. There's a whole lot more to it. See, because he knows that his base is perfectly okay with diddling on 14, 15-year-old girls. He knows that about them, okay? That ain't what it is. There is something so much bigger in there. They're okay with him raping E. Jean Carroll because they'll just, you know, throw it away. That right there was just a tainted jury. That was just a political witch hunt. That's all that was. Same thing with the 34 felonies. That right there was just a tainted jury and a liberal judge, all that. This he can't run away from, and he knows it for some reason, which means it is way bigger than anything his own supporters can even tolerate, okay? That should be very clear to you, MAGA, and you should be demanding answers right along with the rest of us. Inmate Trump.